Yo, what's happening, guys? Coming at you from downforsoundshop.com, and in this video we're going to be doing rapid fire question segment number 29. But first, alright, let's get into this video. If you do not know about these videos, I'll give you a little teaser on it. The way that we do this is you ask questions in the comments of my videos, and we try to go through and answer the questions that people ask most of the time if they haven't been asked before. So that's what this is. So we're going to get started right into this. The first question that we have is from SFR292. It says, basic question, what's the rule of thumb for when you need to add caps, battery, alternator upgrades? Is it solely based upon what your voltage drops you observe, or is there a generalization of X number of watts RMS load needs X number of available amp hour? So rule of thumb for when you need to add. So when you need to add, I think it's pretty simple. So I think it's a pretty simple way of going about this. If you have a vehicle, say a truck, well, like a Chevy truck or something like that, it's going to have a 130 to 150 amp alternator in there. You're probably going to be able to get away with 1500 watts or so, up to 1500 watts before you start having to do any type of upgrades to your electrical. Upgrades should start as a big 3 upgrade, and then you can do. The next thing that I would do is an alternator, high performance alternator from MechMan or Excessive Amperage. We offer those. And then you can replace your battery under the hood. You can start adding batteries in the back. And the way that you know that your system, say you started off as a 1500 watt system, but you're wanting to go to 15,000 watts. So you don't want to, or most people don't want to spend a ton of money adding too much or having an overbuilt electrical. They want to have electrical that is pretty on par with what their demand is. So say you would want to add, we'll just use a random battery, a XP3000 from Excess Power. It's a very popular supplemental battery that goes in the back. So say you'll add, I don't know what they rate those at, 3,000 to 5,000 watts each. So say you'll add 3 of those. That'll get you to your 15,000 watt rating. And you can go and play it, see how it does. You can leave room out beside those so in case you need to expand if your voltage starts dropping. If your voltage drops, in my opinion, under 12 volts, that lets you know that your demand for your system is far surpassing your electrical's abilities. So that's when you would need to add another battery or add another alternator, and then try it again, test it again. Obviously, I'd love to sell you 20 batteries at one time, but I'm not here to take advantage of y'all, and I want to make sure you get an adequate electrical or maybe a little bit above. But I'm not trying to sell you 20 batteries for a 15,000 watt system. It's just totally not necessary. So anyway, that's the rule of thumb there on where you should get started. And obviously, if you have a smaller car like a Civic or a Honda Accord, something that's going to have, say, a 60 or 80 amp alternator on there, you're not going to be able to get away with as much of a amplifier on the factory system because your alternator is way smaller, all your wires way smaller. So I would say on that you'll probably be limited to around 800 watts or so. And then on the very other side, if you have a diesel truck with dual alternators, dual batteries under the hood, you could probably get away with 3,000, 4,000 watts on your factory charge system because it's so beefy. All right, so we're going to go on to the next question. Next is Cade McFarland. He says, hey, I'm deciding between your D4S-65s and your D4S-85s on a JP234. Is there a big difference in output between, is the difference in output between them very big? Also, will 4 of your D4S tweeters be overpowering for 4 of your mids, or will it pair nicely? Do I need to run an equalizer with the setup for it to sound good? So the D4S-65s, in my opinion, are going to give you the most bandwidth. If you like for something to have a little bit more mid-bass, you could go with the D4S-85s because they'll play a little bit lower than the D4S-65s. So it kind of depends. If you want to, actually, you could do 2 8s and 2 6.5s, so you get the best of both worlds. But 4 tweeters, the D4S D25 Neo tweeters, that would be perfect pairing 1 to 1. Do I need to run them equalizer with the setup? No, you do not need to. You don't have to. You can use the EQ on the JP234 and you can make them sound amazing. So there's that. Next up we have Ike Creamer. It says I'm running 1/0 power and ground from my MechMan 400 alternator to my JP40. Excellent battery choice there. The JP40 will be mounted within 12 inches of my RP 4500 amp. Do I or should I still put a fuse between them? Fuses are for people that just want extra insurance. It's a cheap thing to put in between there, and if it makes you sleep better at night, put you a fuse in between there. I would suggest 2 400. I don't know if it's dual or single inputs on that amp. If it's a single input, I would put a 500 amp fuse in there. If it's dual inputs, I would do 300 amp fuses on, so one per strand. Up next we have Julianne Goodall. I was like Julianne. Hi JP, can you explain the difference between rebased music and bass boosted music? So rebased music is going to be music where they have you have a certain song and they put different bass frequencies throughout this song that may not originally have bass in there, so they rebase it. On the other side, you have bass boosted music. So this is going to be music that already has a good bass line in it, but it may be like kind of low, so they'll jack it up some. Sometimes they jack it up too much and it starts creating a lot of distortion and clipping, so you have to watch out for that too. But that's the difference between those two. Last one for this segment, we have Godzilla Bass. Hey JP, thanks for the advice. When I go with the JP43, what battery do you recommend for under the hood and in the back? This is really going to be kind of vehicle specific, but you could, for the JP43, if you did a high performance alternator, let's say you have a truck and you're able to get a 370 amp alternator, or you have a beefy alternator, you could leave your underhood battery, do a big 3 kit, and in the back you could go with a down for sound LTO 6.0. If you still happen to drop voltage a little bit, you could just add a second LTO 6.0. It's going to be a very small footprint. It's not going to take up a lot of room, and it's not going to add a lot of weight, so that would be excellent for you. Alright, that's going to conclude this segment of frequently asked questions. If you have any questions for me that you want to know the answer, drop it in the comment section below, and if we see it, we'll try to answer it for you. And don't forget about the down for sound difference. Guaranteed lowest prices, fastest shipping, best customer service. And we have 4 different types of same as cash financing on the website under the financing tab, where we have tons of different cool car audio for you to look at and grab today. We'll see you in the next one. Later. What's happening, guys? If y'all enjoyed all the hot content that you saw in that video, be sure to follow me on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram under the Life of Price, and also Down for Sound Shop on Facebook and Instagram. And don't forget Snapchat. I'm JP D4S on there, so be sure to check me out there. We'll see you in the next one. Later.